The Pittsburgh Steelers are finding their rhythm at precisely the right moment in the 2025 NFL season, delivering a statement victory over the Miami Dolphins by a final score of 28-15. The win not only solidified Pittsburgh's position atop the AFC North, but also sent a clear message to the rest of the league that this team is capable of playing complementary, disciplined football on both sides of the ball. In December, when playoff races tighten and margins for error disappear, that kind of performance carries immense significance. The game did not begin smoothly for the Steelers. Miami struck first, jumping out to a 3-0 lead and briefly testing Pittsburgh's resolve. However, rather than unraveling, the Steelers settled in, made adjustments, and gradually seized control. By the second quarter, Pittsburgh had found its offensive footing, and a touchdown just before halftime swung momentum decisively in their favor. From that moment on, the Steelers never looked back, maintaining control of the game through the final whistle and showcasing the balance and poise of a team peaking at the right time. While the victory was impressive, the Steelers are not a team content to stand still. Even after one of their most complete performances of the season, the organization continues to search for ways to strengthen the roster. That mindset reflects both the urgency and realism that come with competing in the NFL late in the year. Every weakness is magnified, every injury amplified, and every depth concern scrutinized under the unforgiving spotlight of playoff contention. Despite the positive result against Miami, the Steelers did not emerge unscathed. The defense was already operating without superstar outside linebacker T.J. Watt, whose absence alone fundamentally alters how opposing offenses approach game planning. Watt's combination of pass-rushing dominance, run-stopping ability, and relentless motor makes him one of the most impactful defensive players in the league, and his unavailability leaves a noticeable void. Compounding that issue, Pittsburgh suffered another blow late in the game when linebacker Nick Herbig went down with an injury. Herbig's emergence this season has been one of the bright spots for the Steelers' defense, as his energy and versatility have provided valuable snaps both as a pass rusher and in rotational roles. Losing him, even temporarily, further thins a linebacker group that is suddenly facing a depth crisis at the worst possible time. With Week 16 looming and a pivotal matchup against the Detroit Lions on the horizon, the Steelers find themselves navigating a precarious situation. Detroit's offense is among the most explosive in the NFL, capable of scoring in bunches and putting sustained pressure on opposing defenses. Entering such a matchup without multiple key linebackers raises legitimate concerns about Pittsburgh's ability to generate pressure, set the edge, and contain a dynamic offensive attack. Ordinarily, a team facing this kind of injury situation might explore trade options to shore up the roster. However, with the NFL trade deadline long past, that avenue is no longer available. The Steelers cannot simply pick up the phone and acquire help from another team, forcing them to look inward or toward the limited pool of available free agents. While neither option is ideal, one intriguing possibility has emerged that could offer Pittsburgh a much-needed insurance policy. Earlier in the week, the Miami Dolphins made the decision to release veteran linebacker Matthew Judon as part of a series of roster moves. Judon's release immediately sparked speculation around the league, particularly among teams in need of linebacker depth. Given Pittsburgh's situation, many analysts quickly identified the Steelers as one of the most logical landing spots for the veteran pass rusher. Initially, there was widespread belief that Judon would be claimed off waivers by a linebacker-needy team. Instead, in a somewhat surprising turn of events, Judon cleared waivers without any team submitting a claim. That development fundamentally changed the equation. By going unclaimed, Judon became a free agent, free to sign with any team of his choosing rather than being assigned based on waiver priority. This distinction is crucial. As a free agent, Judon now has control over his next destination. If his priority is joining a team with legitimate postseason aspirations, the Pittsburgh Steelers present a compelling option. Sitting atop the AFC North and showing signs of cohesion and momentum, Pittsburgh offers Judon a chance to compete for meaningful games in January rather than simply finishing out the season. From a purely football standpoint, Judon's potential role in Pittsburgh would be clearly defined. Even if he were to sign with the Steelers, expectations would be measured. He would not be brought in as a savior or an immediate replacement for Watt or Herbig. Instead, Juden would serve as a depth addition, a veteran presence capable of providing snaps, stability, and situational versatility in a depleted linebacker room. Juden's 2025 season with the Dolphins has not been particularly productive by traditional statistical measures. Through the entire campaign, he has recorded 0 sacks and just 3 quarterback hits, numbers that fall well below the standards he set earlier in his career. As a result, there would be no illusion that Juden is the same disruptive force he once was at his peak. However, raw statistics rarely tell the full story, especially for veteran defenders who may be asked to play limited or situational roles. In Pittsburgh, Juden would not be expected to shoulder a full workload or consistently win one-on-one matchups against top-tier offensive tackles. Instead, his value would lie in providing competent depth, executing assignments, and allowing the coaching staff to manage workloads more effectively during a grueling stretch of the season. Juden's presence would be particularly valuable if Watt and Herbig were to miss extended time or if further injuries were to strike a linebacker unit already stretched thin. In such a scenario, having a seasoned professional who understands defensive schemes and preparation routines could prevent the Steelers from having to rely exclusively on inexperienced players in high-leverage situations. Even if Watt and Herbig return sooner rather than later, Juden could still serve a purpose. Rotational snaps, situational pass rushing opportunities, and specific matchup-based usage could all help add a layer of unpredictability to the defense. Fresh legs, even veteran ones, can make a difference late in games, especially when opposing offenses have spent weeks preparing for a specific set of tendencies. Beyond the on-field considerations, Juden's potential arrival in Pittsburgh could have meaningful off-field benefits as well. The Steelers' locker room has undergone significant change in recent seasons, blending established stars with younger players still learning how to navigate the demands of the NFL. Adding another veteran voice, particularly one who has experienced both individual success and adversity, could provide an intangible boost during a pressure-filled stretch run. Motivation is another factor worth considering. Comments and narratives labeling the Steelers as cast-offs, overachievers, or a team built on discarded parts have lingered throughout the season. For a veteran like Juden, such perceptions could serve as fuel rather than discouragement. Joining a team that thrives on proving doubters wrong aligns well with Pittsburgh's long-standing organizational identity. Juden himself could draw motivation from the opportunity to contribute to a contender after being released and passed over on waivers. That chip-on-the-shoulder mentality has often resonated within the Steelers' culture, where toughness, resilience, and collective belief are emphasized. If embraced, Juden could help reinforce that mindset within the defensive unit. Of course, it remains unclear whether Juden would prefer a situation where he has a clearer path to immediate playing time. Some teams around the league might offer him a starting role by necessity rather than choice. However, even in Pittsburgh, Juden's best chance to see the field consistently may exist given the current injury landscape. Opportunity, competitiveness, and organizational stability could all factor into his decision. As things stand, the Steelers are evaluating all available options while awaiting updates on the health of Watt and Herbig. The front office and coaching staff understand that depth often determines postseason success as much as star power. Injuries are inevitable, but preparation and contingency planning can soften their impact. The win over Miami was a major step forward, but it also served as a reminder of how fragile momentum can be. With a dangerous opponent like Detroit up next, Pittsburgh must balance confidence with urgency. Reinforcing the roster, even with a modest move like adding a veteran linebacker for depth, could prove decisive in the weeks to come. In the end, the possibility of Matthew Juden signing with the Steelers represents more than just a transaction. It reflects a franchise acutely aware of its window of opportunity and willing to explore every avenue to maximize its chances. Whether or not Juden ultimately chooses Pittsburgh, the Steelers' proactive approach underscores their belief that this season is far from ordinary. As December football unfolds and the AFC North race intensifies, every decision matters. The Steelers have positioned themselves well with their performance on the field, but sustaining that success will require adaptability, depth, and resilience. Should Juden arrive in Pittsburgh, he would do so not as a headline-grabbing star, but as a potential piece in a larger puzzle. one that the Steelers are determined to complete as the 2025 season reaches its defining moments. Comment if you think Matthew Judon would be a good addition to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thanks for watching and see you soon.